We talk about free speech a lot in the show, and you see a lot of people on YouTube and the media, and I get it, Antifa's annoying but kind of funny. You look at Facebook throttling news, that's all a problem. But this is an example of where freedom of speech is actually a line in the sand that can mean the difference between life and death. And how that ties into the way that we consume information right now is chilling when you follow the timeline to the story. So recently, a Pakistani man was sentenced to death for blasphemy on Facebook. The Guardian writes, an anti-terrorism court in Pakistan has sentenced a man to death for allegedly committing blasphemy on Facebook, the latest step in an intensified crackdown on dissent on social media. So let me preface this. What are blasphemy laws in Pakistan? We need to know what it is that we're talking about before we get to the time frame here. Basically, anything derogatory of the Islam or Quran, or of course, any depictions of Muhammad. Best case scenario, you get 3 years in prison. We can even see here, we've covered this on the website a lot, where by mob rule, people get killed. Sometimes even women and kids because of blaspheming or because of pictures of Muhammad. We've seen terrorist acts committed. So you can either get 3 years in prison, you can get torn apart by a mob, or in this case, actual sentencing to death as issued by the state. This is important because this is who Facebook themselves and Zuckerberg are linking arms with. Pakistan is number fourth in the world as far as countries on the terror watch list. Countries that produce terrorism. This is important because we read this story and immediately I had a flashback to something we wrote about a couple months ago on our website where Pakistan asked Facebook to fight blasphemy. And Facebook sent a team to Pakistan to help investigate. It was written here, not only our site, but the BBC. Facebook agreed to send a team to Pakistan to address reservations about content on the social media site, according to their interior ministry. So this is why this matters. Facebook has real power and influence. This is effectively a soft institution of Sharia law on a social media platform. When you think about it, this is a way Pakistan came to them and said, hey, we need help with dealing with blasphemy. Mark Zuckerberg, in wanting to appeal to the underdog, wanting to appeal to the most politically correct voice to appease at the time, no moral compass, said, sure, we'll help you with blasphemy laws. They send a team to help them investigate. Fast forward 2 months, and a man is being sentenced to death simply for speaking out against the prophet on Zuckerberg's platform. Is there culpability here? Is Facebook potentially an accessory to murder? And I say that without a hint of hyperbole. I think it's a conversation that needs to be had. And this is why this matters. Facebook has aligned themselves repeatedly with countries, with voices that line up against freedom, that constantly want to strip you of your rights, that constantly want to remove freedom of speech, which ironically was supposed to be the purpose of social media and the platform. If you look at what Mark Zuckerberg used to say, this story in and of itself may not seem so bad. But when you look at the priorities that Facebook has gone out of their way to express, so Facebook has not come out and said, you know what, no more working with Pakistan. That we're done. We're done. I cannot believe that you did this to us. This is not what we wanted. This is not what we meant. No, as a matter of fact, during that same time, Facebook has been removing ex-Muslims' pages. They've been removing our Quran challenge videos. They've been removing posts that have pictures of Muhammad on them. So that is something to take into context. But what does Facebook really care about? Well, Zuckerberg wants to fight ISIS with love. These are views that they express. These are views they go out of their way for the press junkies. They want to censor anti-migrant rhetoric in Germany. They'll go out of their way to fight that. They want to crack down on fake news, like Louder with Crowder. That was a story, remember Gizmodo. They talked about them throttling us. And they've tried to fact check us when we talked about the pamphlets teaching people not to rape being passed out in Cologne, Germany. And their fact checking was, well, these pamphlets weren't specifically printed for Cologne, Germany. They were passed out, and yeah, there was a lot of rape. There was a significant amount of rape. But these pamphlets were reprintings. This was their argument. So when you take that and you see the priorities from Facebook, and you see it from YouTube, you see it from Twitter, you see it from these activists, these political activists who have no moral compass, have so much money, they feel so much guilt, and they automatically want to assume some kind of moral high ground with an underdog. And right now it's Islam. They are, in trying to be tolerant, sitting at the altar of evil who will tolerate nothing from Western society. And you see it with Sharia law. You don't think for a second if Pakistan had this ability to bring that kind of punishment to the states, that they would do? Yours truly Guess who can't take his passport to Pakistan anytime soon? It amazes me that Facebook will go out of their way to talk about we need to treat ISIS with love, to talk about tolerance, to have a meeting with Glenn Beck and say, listen, we need to include more voices. And then they agree to send someone to Pakistan at a request to deal with blasphemy. And they tell Merkel they're going to shut down anti-Muslim voices. And then someone is sentenced to death. This man is going to die. This man is going to die for using a platform that Mark Zuckerberg created and then used to subvert alongside the Pakistani government to find this guy and sentence him to death. I don't know how someone like that sleeps at night. And when you get rid of the whole, okay, left versus right, and let's have a civil dialogue, absolutely. Mark Zuckerberg and these people in Silicon Valley, these social media giants who are being guided by situational ethics and have no sense as to what the enemy wants to do to them or the Western world, right now, Mark Zuckerberg and the rest of you, you quite literally will have blood on your hands. This man was killed because of who you tried to appease, because of the people you tried to help. So when we say freedom of speech is absolute and you want to get into the nuance, the reason we do it is so that shit like this doesn't happen. If freedom of speech is absolute, the second Pakistan comes in there and says, hey, can you help us deal with blasphemy? You know what you say? No. Hey, if you like this video, subscribe by clicking the button. It's a circular button now that says subscribe. If not, head on over to the Young Turks. That's probably more your speed. Although they're coming over here, Cenk, we know you're here watching. I can smell you from here. There's also a recommended video box playing right up there. You can join the Mug Club at louderwithcrowder.com/mugclub for daily content, so we're not dependent here on YouTube. Cenk, go. No. Go. You don't need to stay here. This isn't good for, it's bad for your soul.